Hey there YouTube, welcome back to the channel. I find myself seated once again on the bench of truth here at the picnic table of wisdom. And today the wisdom that I have to drop on you is that Gun Jesus is a flipping idiot. Well, that's not true actually. I have a great respect for Ian McCollum and his channel. I think it's some of the best content on YouTube and he is in no way an idiot. But I needed a clickbait title for the video. So let me tell you what I mean. He released a video some years ago about Steyr Scout Rifles and the Scout Rifle concept. And we had several criticisms of the Scout Rifle concept, and one of them was that the mid-length eye relief scope, the optic that's positioned out above the barrel, creates some problems of balance and magnification and field of view and so on. One of his biggest criticisms of the Scout Rifle concept was the very flawed nature of that mid-length eye relief optic, or at least what he thought was flawed. And that's fair, he had some valid criticisms, but he failed to understand that optic is not part of the Scout Rifle concept. It is something that Jeff Cooper liked, and that lots of other people liked, and it's something that we see frequently on Scout Rifles, and Jeff Cooper was absolutely an advocate of that sort of optic, but he always made it very clear that no optic at all is required on a Scout Rifle, that a rifle can qualify as a Scout Rifle, even if it has no optic at all. So Ian would be free, if he wanted to shoot a Scout Rifle and do it his way, to dispense with that optic and just shoot with iron sights. And that would qualify as a Scout Rifle. It's very much would qualify as Jeff Cooper defined the Scout Rifle and as he advocated for it. Jeff Cooper was not a big fan of an optic mounted above the receiver, and he had his reasons for that, and I won't go into them here. Ian was correct. He was correct to criticize the concept if he finds that sort of optic useful, and if he wants to use that, then maybe a Scout Rifle is not ideal for him, because according to Jeff Cooper, a Scout Rifle perhaps should not have an optic mounted above the receiver. But Jeff Cooper was very flexible when it came to optics and whether or not they should be on the rifle at all. He liked having them. He liked having them mounted above the barrel, but he was very clear that if you don't like that, you're free to use iron sights only, and you still have a Scout Rifle. So there you go. There's my inflammatory clickbait video for you criticizing Ian McCollum, but it's really not much of a criticism, other than I don't think he appreciated that Jeff Cooper never required that a Scout have an optic, any kind of magnifying optic at all. In fact, I would say that Jeff Cooper would probably be very open to the idea these days, if he were still alive, of putting a red dot, putting some kind of electronic sight on a rifle. He did not like red dots when he was alive, but they were still fairly primitive at that time, and they've come a long way since then. I think he would be very agreeable to the idea of a red dot if it, say, co-witnessed with iron sights. So, because he was always worried about electronics failing, batteries failing, that sort of thing. So if the thing failed, you'd still have your iron sights and you could just pretend it's not there. It would be small and compact and light, which he liked. Fits very well with the idea of a Scout Rifle. And of course, a red dot sight does not have to have electronics. The Trijicon optics have just tritium and or fiber optics, and so no batteries to fail. I would say they are less likely to fail than any magnifying optic. So I think if Jeff Cooper had lived long enough, he would have been very, very open to the idea of having a red dot on a Scout Rifle. And if you like a Scout Rifle, but maybe you don't like that mid-length eye relief scope, you might think about a red dot. And Ian, if you're listening, you might think about a red dot on one. Although I think you're pretty wedded to the idea of having magnification, and I understand that because magnification is very, very useful. Anyway, guys, so while I respect Mr. McCollum very much indeed, and he's one of the people who inspired me to get on YouTube, I do have to disagree with him on this point, and I hope that he'll forgive me for the clickbait title. Keep your powder dry.